Number 11. Natalie Mayer. Natalie Mayer was 48 years old when she moved in with her mom for the first time since she was 16. She was having personal and financial issues, including problems related to her drinking, and her mother, 71-year-old Veronica Korsterfein, offered to take Natalie in at her home in Tasmania. Their relationship quickly grew tense during the 2 months the mother-daughter duo spent living together in 2019. Veronica repeatedly complained about Natalie's drinking and told her that she needed to turn her life around. Instead of taking her mother's criticisms as a push in the right direction, Natalie grew angry and turned into a ticking time bomb. She became even more enraged when she found text messages on Veronica's phone, complaining to others about her lifestyle. A day or two after seeing the texts and getting into a heated argument, Natalie held a cushion over her petite, elderly mother's face until she went limp. She then used Veronica's credit card to buy a ticket to Perth, transferred $12,000 out of her mother's bank account into her own account, and fled with several of her mother's valuables, including jewelry, a phone, and a laptop. Natalie pleaded not guilty to murder, but a jury convicted her. She was sentenced to 23 years in prison with eligibility for parole after 13 years. Number 10. Lisa Marie Kaplan. One day in September 2017, an argument broke out between 51-year-old Lisa Marie Kaplan and her mother, 71-year-old Sandra Marie Barnt, at their home in Palmerton, Pennsylvania. At one point, Lisa allegedly went upstairs, retrieved a crossbow, came back downstairs, and shot Sandra in the neck with an arrow. She then put a blanket over her mother's body and went to bed. Lisa then stayed inside the home with Sandra's remains for at least 2 days before concerned family members asked police to perform a welfare check. After making the gruesome discovery, officers charged Lisa with criminal homicide and aggravated assault. She allegedly admitted to the crime, but her lawyer argued that she had a history of mental illness. Neighbors reportedly called her the shovel lady because she was often seen walking up and down the street with a shovel for no reason. But the outcome of the case was never determined because Lisa suddenly passed away in jail while awaiting trial. An autopsy was performed, but the cause of her death was never announced. Number 9. Megan Joyce IMIROWICZ. A 64-year-old Michigan man was clinging to life when his neighbor found him covered in chemical burns at his Oakland County home in late 2021. He was rushed to the hospital with injuries to his head, torso, and extremities. Police found evidence of lye drain cleaner on the couch where the man was found, and also learned that the victim's daughter was home when it happened. They accused Megan Joyce IMIROWICZ of throwing a mixture of lye powder and water at her father and leaving him unconscious after the attack. She had turned 18 years old just 2 days before the alleged assault and was initially charged with domestic violence with intent to do great bodily harm. In the meantime, Megan's dad fought for his life, but ultimately succumbed to his injuries after 5 months in the hospital. Her charges were upgraded to 1 count of open murder. Authorities have declined to share a possible motive for the crime. Number 8. Rachel Hudson. In the early morning hours of Thanksgiving 2013, 19-year-old Rachel Hudson pulled a gun on her mother, 58-year-old Susan Lee Hudson, apologized to her, and told her that what she was about to do had to happen. Rachel then shot Susan dead and profusely apologized for it before texting her father and telling him about what she had just done. He didn't believe her at first, so she sent him a photo of Susan's lifeless body. By then, Rachel had been taking care of her terminally ill mother for years. Susan suffered from kidney failure, diabetes, and congestive heart failure. It didn't help that the family was extremely dysfunctional. According to Rachel's sister, Sarah, Rachel often flew into fits of rage, leading Sarah to believe that she had an undiagnosed mental illness. The family often fought and had gotten into a big argument the night before the murder. Rachel pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and received an 18-year prison sentence. She told Dr. Phil that when she decided to kill her mom, she was at an all-time low and felt like things were never going to get any better. The only thing that stopped her from taking her own life was knowing that her father might do the same if he came home and found not 1, but 2 dead family members. Rachel's father and sister also appeared on the show in 2016, coming face-to-face with her for the first time since she was locked up. They told her that it would take time to forgive her for what she had done. Since being incarcerated, the convicted killer had gone on multiple medications for her mental illnesses and said that she was starting to feel better. Number 7. Brenda Garcia. 41-year-old Julia Garcia thought that her teenage daughter, Brenda, had just left for school one morning in late 2014 when she was ambushed by 2 young men who hit her with a metal pipe and stabbed her. By the time Brenda walked back inside, her mother was dead. Brenda Garcia had allegedly recruited her boyfriend, Joseph Sanchez, and her neighbor, Michael Trieb, to kill her mother. The trio wrapped her lifeless body in garbage bags, loaded her into the trunk, and dumped her remains in the desert. Sanchez and Trieb each received $50 cash for their role in the gruesome crime. After Julia's husband reported her missing, Brenda claimed to have received an email from her mother containing a suicide note. Volunteer searchers found her remains 10 days after she vanished. Police didn't arrest anyone in connection with Julia's death until more than 2 years later, when they charged Brenda, Sanchez, and Trieb with murder in early 2017. Brenda reportedly told detectives that they had killed Julia as part of her boyfriend's gang initiation. In the meantime, Sanchez allegedly claimed that the murder was committed as a way to get Brenda out of a gang. According to the last update in 2017, the cases were slated to go to trial. Number 6. Cheyenne Jessie. 50-year-old Mark Ivan Weekly and his young granddaughter were last seen alive in July of 2015. About a week later, Weekly's daughter and the girl's mother, 25-year-old Cheyenne Jessie, reported the pair missing. Police found their remains 2 weeks later in plastic storage bins inside a shed next to the family's Lakeland, Florida home. When questioned by detectives, Jessie reportedly made suspicious claims that her father and daughter had run off to Georgia. She said that Weekly only had 1 year left to live and wanted to spend it with his granddaughter, and showed the police a text message conversation between her and her father as proof. Suspicious that Jessie was lying, investigators continued to question her. She eventually admitted that she and Weekly had gotten into a physical altercation and claimed to have stabbed her father in self-defense. Prosecutors charged Jessie with 2 counts of murder and accused her of sending the text messages from Weekly's phone to secure her cover story. They also theorized that Jessie had wanted to get rid of certain family members because her boyfriend had threatened to break up with her over some behavioral problems that her daughter was struggling with. Jessie's defense attorneys argued that her boyfriend had committed the murders and that she took the rap because she was afraid of him. She continued to maintain her innocence even after the jury convicted her. The judge overseeing the case spared Jessie from the death sentence and instead ordered her to spend the rest of her life behind bars without the possibility of parole. Number 5. Bridget Folks. Police rushed to the home of 80-year-old Joan Folks in Tallahassee one morning in 2022 after receiving a call that she had been stabbed. When officers arrived, they found the former administrative law judge suffering from blunt force trauma to the head with a bloody knife and candlestick holder nearby. She underwent emergency surgery, but died from her injuries. Joan's daughter, Francine Folks, said that she woke up to her sister, 57-year-old Bridget Folks, banging on her bedroom door. Bridget allegedly admitted to attacking Joan and said that it was difficult to care for the elderly woman who had dementia and limited mobility, and that the sisters couldn't afford to send her to a nursing home. She had been planning to kill her mother for months, according to a police affidavit, which further stated that Francine was completely unaware of Bridget's plan. Bridget remains behind bars while awaiting trial on a first-degree murder charge. Number 4. Rachel MULLENIX. At the age of 56, Barbara MULLENIX was still hopeful that she would land work as an aspiring actress. But her dreams were cut short in September 2006 after she grounded her 17-year-old daughter Rachel for breaking her 1 a.m. curfew. MULLENIX was found dead in Newport Harbor, California, with more than 50 stab wounds from what appeared to be a crime of sheer rage. Detectives theorized that Rachel and her boyfriend, 23-year-old Ian Wesley Allen, co-conspired to murder Barbara in cold blood. The pair then fled for Florida along Interstate 10. Law enforcement caught up with them in Louisiana and extradited them back to California to face murder charges. Allen was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Rachel's defense attorney argued that she helped cover up Barbara's murder, but didn't actually participate in it. Her father, Barbara's ex-husband Bruce MULLENIX, testified that the victim was an abusive alcoholic. Rachel's half-brother Alex Hagood later told Forensic Files Now that Barbara had a Jekyll and Hyde personality that could switch on at a moment's notice, and that she was a drug and alcohol abuser who partied with Rachel and Ellen. He also said that Barbara needed to be the center of attention all the time, and that she was an abusive control freak. Regardless of how many people came to bat for Rachel, and even if what they said was true, murder is still against the law, and she was found guilty. Number 3. Sherry Lee Heffernan. After being called to conduct a welfare check at a home in Long Beach Island, New Jersey one day in October 2021, police found the murdered remains of 87-year-old John Enders and his girlfriend, 75-year-old Francoise Petoy. A neighbor told officers that Enders' 55-year-old daughter, Sherry Lee Heffernan, often argued with her father. He had cut her out of his will and wasn't going to use her to sell his $2 million house, even though she was a real estate agent. After finding surveillance footage showing Heffernan parking outside Enders' home shortly before the murders, detectives questioned the woman's son. He allegedly said that he and his mother thought Petoy was a gold digger, and that they believed she was the reason Ender was selling his home. Police matched bloody fingerprints and footprints at the scene to Heffernan, along with a gun that they found, and charged her with 2 counts of murder. During a detention hearing, Heffernan's lawyer argued that she wasn't financially motivated to commit the crime because she herself was a successful professional before she became disabled in 2013, and that she had her own assets. If convicted, she could face a life sentence for each charge. Number 2. Cassandra DUSOLD. In early 2022, police in Newmarket Township, Minnesota were called to the home of 69-year-old Dorothy DUSOLD. Her 33-year-old daughter, Cassandra, had dialed 911 and reported that her mother wasn't breathing. Cassandra allegedly told detectives that she had been eating breakfast and watching a movie with Dorothy in a bedroom when she went into the kitchen briefly and heard a loud thud. She said she went back into the bedroom and found her mother face down on the floor. DUSOLD claimed that she attempted CPR while dialing 911. Dorothy was rushed to the hospital, but she was brain dead and was removed from life support a few days later. In later interviews with investigators, Cassandra claimed that her mother had hit her, causing a scratch, and reportedly admitted to squeezing Dorothy like a python with both arms after putting her in a chokehold. She said that they both fell to the ground during the struggle. Cassandra was charged with second-degree murder in connection with her mother's death. Number 1. MIKAYLA Nicole Lee. After receiving a call about a shooting in June of 2022, police found 61-year-old Michael Lee clinging to life with gunshot wounds at his Greensboro, North Carolina home. He was rushed to the hospital, where he died from his injuries. Michael's daughter, 22-year-old MIKAYLA Nicole Lee, was barricaded inside the home. Officers eventually coaxed her out and arrested her. After her father died, she was charged with first-degree murder. Authorities released few details in the immediate aftermath of the crime. MIKAYLA's devastated family attended her first court hearing and told the press that they're hoping someone comes forward with more information about what happened, as they struggle to understand how things came to such a tragic point. They told local station WFMY that MIKAYLA adored her dad, and that they trust that they'll get the answer they're looking for as the case plays out in court. For now, they're reluctant to believe that she's evil. Siblings CHEYANNE and Micah Galloway said that they believe that there has to be more to the story, and that MIKAYLA acted completely out of character. They're having a hard time accepting that she could face life without parole if convicted. Thanks for watching. Would you rather catch your teenage niece stealing from their parents, or find out that she had gotten kicked out of school for hitting a classmate? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye.